Okay, so in this tutorial we are going to look at building up our evidence page. Now we're going to do a slightly different layout. In the previous tutorial I showed you how to make something like this, and in this one we're going to look at something like this. Now there's a reason why I'm going to show you this, because you need to think carefully about your layouts, and you might want to change the layout even after you start building it, and I'll show you how to do that. It's fairly easy. Okay, so yeah, last time we built this, which is essentially just some instructions where we've got the player, we've got some collectibles, and then what we would do is we'd put the heading in, and then we'd write a little bit about it, how to move maybe, what collectibles you need to pick up, and obviously what enemies, and we also put a button on the end there as well. So what we're going to do is, on this one, we are going to try to make a different layout. So what we need to do is this. We are going to start off by clicking on insert, and then we're going to go to grid with rows and columns, and we're going to nest it, and we're going to use 2. Now when I add this in, you can see it's put in here, content goes here, that's good. So let's just get rid of that very quickly and get rid of that one very quickly. And what I'm going to do is just move this over a little bit. Now when I click in this container, you'll notice I've got this blue sort of drag handle. So if I just move it over, it's moved over lovely, and I've now got my other container here. Now one thing you will notice is the other container now is moved over, but there's a little bit of sort of emptiness here on the end, and that's because this container needs to be stretched out if you want it to fill. Now you might say, actually let's see what it looks like. So let's put some text in here. So let's add in, let's go back for insert HTML, let's go to paragraph, let's nest it, and let's add some text in. Lovely. Now what you'll notice is it's put the text in there lovely for us, and you notice now there's nothing in here. Now it's easy to solve, you just drag it out and then it puts that in there for us. Now one other thing you might have just noticed is that I've now got my cursor down here, even though I've got the paragraph up here. Now I can press backspace, I can press delete. If I go up here and press delete a few times, nothing's actually happening. So what we need to do is get rid of this, because it's a non-breaking space, and it's fairly easy to do, and this is where the split comes in handy. So if I click in split, and I click in this option here to make sure I'm on the right one, what we're looking for is this bit of code here, the non-breaking space. So I'm just going to get rid of this here, and there you are, moves it up there for me. Now you might actually decide, I want another space there at the bottom. That's fine if you do. If you don't, that's fine as well. So let's go and add in now another grid with column. So we're going to switch back now to bootstrap and click on grid with column. And again we're nesting, and we're going to do 2. And we're going to click OK. And this time we're going to get rid of this again, and we're going to get rid of this again. Now when I try to move this over, you'll notice there's a grab handle over here. Let's try and move it, and you'll notice it's not moving. And the reason being is this is a slightly different tool. So this is for offsetting, and I'll show you what that will do now in a moment. So let's resize this by clicking on the right and dragging it over. So that's about the same size now as that. Now if I click on the left now, look what it's doing. It's putting this grey sort of shaded area in. And what that is it's basically moving this, but also keeping the same size column. So this column over here, let's add in one of these paragraphs. So this column now would actually only be there. We'd have a blank space, and then we'd have our other container here. Now I don't want to do that with this, so I'm just going to move it back and collapse it. Then I'm going to click on this end column, and we're going to move it all out so it reaches the end there. What happens if you move it too far? Well, if you move it too far, what it'll do is it moves that column down there. Okay, now we've got the same issue where we've got another little cheeky space here at the bottom. So let's click back in split view and let's remove it because it's there. And let's go back to live view, and that looks good there now as well. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some buttons in. Now if you've made buttons in Photoshop, wonderful. Feel free to add in an image and then add the buttons in. But I haven't, so I'm going to show you some bootstrap buttons this time. So if I change the controller from insert to bootstrap, and let's go down here, we've got a list of buttons. Now to get this little list up, I've clicked on the drop down menu here, and you've got large, small, primary, secondary, info, success, danger, warning. These are pre-made button styles. Now you can change them. I'll probably do it in a different video, because me will have to either alter some CSS or add some of our own CSS, which we don't really need to do, but it's just as a little bit of an extra. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to add in a dark button. And you'll notice now it hasn't done anything because we're waiting for it to do something up here. So I want to nest it inside this here. And you can see there, look, dark button, nice. So let's have a quick look now at this. We're going to add another dark button down here. So if I click in here, let's click in... Where's my buttons? There's my buttons. If I click in dark button, click in nest. So we've got two dark buttons. Now the first one here is going to link to our files. Now in our evidence folder, we've got our survey data, we've got development log, we've got asset log, and we've got an analysis log as well. And we've got another folder there for game versions as well. These are all blank files as well, there's nothing in there, so there's no NEAs or anything like that here. What I am going to do is I'll show you how to convert these files into PDFs as well, because that's part of the requirement of the course. So what we're going to do is we are going to be linking to this survey data. So we need to change the name of this button to survey data. Now if you recall in one of the previous videos, well, if you get rid of everything here, then it's quite difficult then to type the space in. So what some people have been doing is they've been doing this, highlighting one word, survey, highlighting the other word, and putting data in. Yeah, you can do that, but I prefer to do this. Just get rid of it, and then we're going to do analysis log. And then what I'm going to do is just click the split view, and then we are going to press the space in there and sort it out. Now one thing to notice, if we then try and preview this website at the moment, I'm just going to get my preview up. This is what it looks like. Nice. Nothing wrong with it yet. What you will find though is the buttons are going to be different sizes, and the reason the buttons are going to be different sizes is because the buttons will expand depending on how much data is in the button itself. So what I'm going to do is we are going to move this button out and we're going to expand it ourselves. So if I click in the button here and click on the plus, I'm going to put .w-100. Right, now if I just undo the 100 for a moment, you'll notice there's a few other options here. Now these are all percentages, right? So 100, 25, 50 and 75. So what it's saying is stretch the button out to the width of 100%, so it goes to the width of the container. Now if I do the same over here, so .w-100, what happens is then it makes a nice consistent design. So you can see now the buttons now are the same sort of shape and size, which is quite nice. The reason I've done that is because another button that I'm going to be adding in later is going to be called development log, which is obviously going to have more letters in it, so it's going to be a little bit wider. Now another thing you can do is you can alter the height of these as well, and we've done the width, so W for width. We can do .h dash, and if you want to do 100, what it'll do is it'll make that button 100% of the container. But you might not want to do it. Let me just show you. We might not want to use 100. I'm just going to do this now. And it's just personal preference, this one. I prefer 75. I'm going to be completely honest. That's what 75 looks like. That's what 100. I just think 75 is probably a little bit nicer to me. But you might say, nah, I'm going to go with 100. That's fine. You go with whatever you want to do. So I'm going to click back in here and just change this to, That's 3 times I've done that now. Okay, what I've done there was I clicked on it, then pressed the backspace a few times. So what it's done is it's actually deleted the button, then it deletes the container. Now if this happens to you, don't worry, just click off it, click edit, undo, and then it'll come back. Now what I'm trying to do is this, I'm trying to delete this property, and then I'm going to have to add it back in. And there you are, everything is good. Now what we're going to do is copy this whole container, and we're going to put it down there, then we're going to copy this one, put it underneath, and I'm going to show you the quick way to do that. So as you can see on the DOM here, this is where this DOM is really good. Let me contract these. Okay, so this here is this top one, this here is that bottom one. So what I'm going to do is right click, copy, and then on this one here, so where we go in, right click, paste as child. Oh, lovely, good. So I need to do that one there now, right click, copy, and then right click, paste as child, and we need to do one more, right click, copy, and then right click, paste as child. Excellent. So we've got survey data, analysis log, and now we need to change these to be the correct things. So I'm going to click in this one, and I'm going to go to split view, right, because it'll just be quicker. So this is going to be development log. Now you might notice and think, oh my gosh, nothing's happening. It is, look, it's just changed there. If I click down here, this isn't going to be an analysis log anymore, it's going to be an asset log. And then this one here is going to be game versions. Excellent, and if I look now at the preview, the website looks quite nice. But there is a problem. So if you look, obviously without the actual proper text, you've got to pretend that this survey data, this text here is talking about the survey data, this text here is talking about the analysis log, this text is talking about the development log, and so forth. This isn't the problem, this is the problem. When we shrink this down, what happens is everything starts to wrap. So this survey data, this button goes on top, which is exactly what. So this text would be talking about survey data. Then this text would be talking about the analysis log, which is the button there. Then this text here would be talking about the development log. This text here would be talking about the asset log. So it just makes the design a little bit chaotic. Okay, so it's something to be mindful of, right? It might look good full screen, but as we're building a responsive website, we need to consider how the website is going to look on smaller screens. Now, if you get to this stage and you go, I've made a mistake, I'm going to have to delete it all, start again, you're not. I'm going to show you a very quick way to move things around. Now, if we go back to this DOM, which is exactly what we need here, you'll notice all of these things I can select, right? So I can select the button, I can select the container there, I can select this one, and if I expand this one here, look, I've got this here for this one, and this here for this one. So if I click on this one, which contains the button, so I'm clicking on the outer container and just drag it up, what it's just done now is it's moved it around for me. So I haven't had to change anything, I haven't had to delete anything in order to change. All I've done is I've dragged it up. And that's what it'll look like. And then when we resize it, it might be able to work a little bit better for you. Now you might say to me, no, I'm happy with how it was. That's fine, let's just undo it. Let's undo and leave it as it is, but it's your choice. Now the next thing we're going to do is make links to these documents here. Now the way to do this, and this did take me a while the first time because I was trying to get links to work, what you've got to do is click on the button and then click on the top to make sure the button is entirely selected. So if you notice then what I did, I clicked on the button, which then allows me to sort of type, but but then you click on this blue thing here to ensure the button's selected, or using the DOM you just select the button over here. Now on the button we have something called a link, which is there, and what I'm going to do is click on this browse file icon, and it depends on what happens next. Now it might be the case that your browse will look like this, so we need to go back to the root, into the evidence, and then click on survey data, and then click OK. Now what that does is, it does a few things. It then makes a link here. Now this link is very special. If you look at this link, it's got 2 dots and a slash. That means go up the folder from where you are, go into the evidence folder and find the survey data.xls. Okay, and if I just show you this very quickly, that is obviously the website is in here, so we're in the evidence folder. So what it's saying is the 2 dots are, right, go back one, go into evidence and then find the survey data, and that's exactly what we need it to do. Okay, so the next thing then we need to do is look at the other things which are there. Now, the analysis log, development log, asset log, and game versions. Now, let's do the game versions next, because that's probably one of the easier ones. Let's click on the button again, so make sure the button's there. Click on the browse file, and all I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to double click on the game versions and then just click OK. Right, now that's not going to actually allow me to do anything. Right, now you can try and do site root, but that's not going to do anything. What this is trying to do, right, is trying to find one of the game versions. So it might be the case that we want to link to an earlier game, or you might want to link to the final game. Right, so you can click on that, click OK, and what I'm going to do then is I'm going to change this. So I'm now not going to link to that, the actual file. I'm just going to link to the folder. Okay. Now, by doing that, what it allows me to do is I'll be able then to basically click on the actual file and then open the folder itself. Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, let me just save all this. The next thing that we're going to do is look at adding in various different things. Now let me just show you this game versions working. So this is the file. Now notice I've opened this directly in the web browser. The reason being, if you try to open this within Dreamweaver, it's probably not going to work. So I've opened this file directly. If I click on game versions, it takes me then to the folder. Okay. Right, the next thing then, the analysis log, development log and asset log. Now you can only link these once you've completed the documents, right? Don't link them partway through, because if you convert it and it's not done, you're only doing half a job. So what we're going to do is, if I open, let's say, the analysis log. Now this is open my analysis log. And what we're going to do is we're going to save it now as a PDF. So if we go File, Save As, and then Browse, what we're going to do is change this now down the bottom from Word to PDF. Click on Save. It'll open, close it, and what you'll find then is we've got a PDF file there. Okay, so how do we link to it? Very easy. Click on the button again, click on the link, and then go into the evidence folder, click on the analysis log, click OK, and that link is done. Now there is one thing to bear in mind with this, and I'm just going to show you what's going to happen now. Let me save all of these. Okay, so this is my preview. If I click on the analysis log, look at what's happened. It's basically taken the place of my website. So I don't really want to do that, because what I want is people to still be on the website, and I don't want them then to have to click this back button all the time. So in order to sort of circumvent that, what we're going to do is we're going to use this target down the bottom here, and we're going to say _blank. Now if I do that, what will happen is when we click on the analysis log now, it opens in a brand new window, which is nice. Alright? Lovely. Now you can use other options as well, so if you did see new, again, what that used to do is normally open in a brand new window. I don't know why it doesn't work on the more modern browsers. Let's have a look. Parent. Oop. Let me save this again. So I now have to preview this in the normal Firefox to get everything, to make sure it's working. Go. Okay, so let's have a look, see what that's done. It's done the same sort of thing. My advice to you would be always just stick with underscore blank, and then that will open then in a new window all the time. Now, I'm not going to do the development log and the asset log because it's exactly the same, but my feeling is probably, like with most people, if you're working on a website, your development log isn't going to be completed yet. So you would basically need to complete the website, complete the development log with the testing and the evaluation, and then that'll be the last thing you'd link. Likewise with the asset log, that'll be one of the last things you link once you finish the website and the game as well. Okay, so very quickly, that is how you build a different style web page where you'll have various different things going from left to right maybe, and if you did want to move things around, you can obviously use the DOM there to move the order of things.